Hello everybody, welcome back to Vlogmas and one of my favorite videos of the year, which is the books that I read for the year. I'm looking down at my phone, by the way, because I have all the books that I read this year. This year I read 16 books. I think that's exactly how many I read last year as well. I'm currently reading one right now, but I'm pretty sure that was the same instance last year. But anyway, we're just gonna go through the books that I read, talk about them, what I rated them. The first book that I picked up this year was by Jeanette McCurdy. It was a memoir called I'm Glad My Mom Died. I rated this 5 stars. I really like this book. Jeanette McCurdy was a child actress from one of the shows that I used to watch growing up. She was from iCarly, and it's honestly really devastating, this book, with what she had to go through and what her mother put her through. Like, the stories stick with me, and I read this at the beginning of the year, so it's just, I don't know, I feel like that says a lot about a book if I can remember it, because sometimes you'll read a book and it's like, I don't even remember what it was about. So this one really stuck with me. I really liked it. If you watched iCarly or Sam and Cat and grew up watching her, this is a really good read. I know that her audiobook, she reads it too. I did not listen audiobook, but I just think it would give it even more depth if you listened to her actually reading the story. I do remember that I liked that the way that she wrote this was kind of like talking to her mom, I think, if I remember correctly. But I don't know, I really like this one. So if you're interested in reading it, I definitely recommend. This just flew out at me. I gotta show my cute little bookmark that my cousin got me. It's a little messy, it's adorable. But the next book that I read for the year was The Spanish Love Deception. I remember liking this book. I gave this one 4 stars. This is just another little romancy type of book. I kind of am straying away from romance. I still like the romance books, but I do feel like they're very predictable, obviously, and the stories are very similar. Like this one, this girl, I believe, is pretending that this guy is her date, her sister's wedding, and it's like a whole rigmarole, and then they end up like falling for each other. Like, it's the same story all the time. But I don't know, I thought it was cute enough to give it 4 stars. Nothing too memorable from this book, but I did really like it. Here's a snippet of the back if you are interested in reading. Pause so you can read. But yeah, cute little romance book. Didn't hate it. The next book that I read, I don't have a physical copy, so I'll put a little picture right here, but it was called Everything That I Know About Love, and it was a memoir. I gave it 3 stars. I think memoirs have to be somebody that you know, or somebody that you, not that you know, but like you're familiar with them, because I don't know who Dolly Alderton is. And so I didn't really like connect with the book. The reason that I picked the book is because I often will go on YouTube and see like people's book recommendations, and this was one that I saw. The cover's pretty cool, as you guys see. So I thought it was like a cool read, but at the same time, it's just like, I don't know who this person is, and like the story, like, it doesn't really mean much to me. So I kind of was like, I'm done reading this book. So if you know who Dolly Alderton is, then maybe read it. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it because I don't know who she is. So if you're gonna read a memoir, make sure you know who they are. Question mark. The next one that I read was called The Guilty Husband. I don't have a physical copy, so I'll put a picture right here as well. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember what the story was about. I gave it 4 stars, and I do remember liking it. Oh, I do remember now. I had to like think about it for a little bit. I really do enjoy thrillers, so overall I know that it is a genre that I enjoy. I'll read you the little synopsis. I'm gonna be looking down, so please forgive me. It only takes one lie to destroy a marriage. The perfect husband. Vince Taylor has everything he could dream of. He's the CEO of a tech firm in New York City, owns a beautiful home, and most importantly, he is married to Nicole, the woman who stole his heart the first moment he set eyes on her. Oh my god, like, I can't read that far away. But when Layla, a stunning young intern at Vince's company, is found dead, all eyes are suddenly on him. Vince has a secret that threatens to tear their perfect world apart. He was having an affair with Layla, and he'll do anything to cover his tracks. Do you believe him? When the police discover Vince lied about their relationship, they are convinced they have found Layla's killer. If Vince kept quiet about the affair, what else is he guilty of? A totally unputdownable thriller. This book will have you gripped from the very first page until the jaw-dropping final twist. Fans of The Perfect Couple, My Perfect Wife, and The Undoing will love this novel. I do actually remember the ending of this, and the ending was like love. Love the ending, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So anyway, if that tells you anything, I don't fully remember all the details of the book, but I did remember liking the book. Do with that information what you will. The next book that I read was a part of a series that I was really anticipating this year, and it is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. She is a really popular author, and I was really excited to delve into this world. It is a fantasy book and it is a series. This book is number 1 of 5. I really liked it. I did read book 2 as well, which I'll get into it a little bit later, but I have not delved into book 3 yet. I do have it purchased on my Kindle, so I am ready to read it at some point. But they're just big books, and it's a lot of like, it's a whole world that you're trying to learn. So I sometimes get confused, but I really like this book. I really like the adventures that the character has to go through, and there's a little bit of like sexual tension. So it's kind of like a cool read, and I'm really excited to see what happens in book 3. And while I'm at it, I guess I'll pull the other book. So the next book in the series is A Court of Mist and Fury. This one's even bigger. This book was definitely much like, I don't know, both were really adventurous, but this one is very spicy for sure. This one a little spicy, but this one spicy. I'm really excited to see what else happens. I know that once I pick it up, I'm going to just dive back into this world and learn about, I have an idea of what the other books are about, but I'm really excited to finish the series and see how it goes. She also has a few other series that I'm interested in reading, but they're just series and there's so many books, so it becomes a little bit intimidating. But I will eventually get into Iron Flame. Actually, is that? No, Fourth Wing and then Iron Flame. Those are part of her newer series. But I did take a screenshot of this girl talking on TikTok about these books, and they all kind of tie into each other very slightly. I'll have to go back to that TikTok and figure out the reading order of all of her books. But all of her books are freaking big, so it's gonna take me some time. And if you're interested in getting into the fantasy world, this is a good place to start. After that, I picked up my Kindle again. I don't have a physical book for this, but I will put a picture here. It is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. I decided to pick up another Colleen Hoover book. I love Colleen Hoover. She's super easy to read, super fast reads. I really like this book. It's part of a series as well. I don't even know if I picked up the next part of the book. I don't think that I did, but I do remember really liking this story. It was really sad, very dramatic and traumatic at the same time. I have to finish reading these books, but I do remember liking this one a lot. Let me see how many stars I gave it. I gave it 5 stars, of course. It's Colleen Hoover, so I feel like I mostly give those books 5 stars unless I absolutely hate it, which is not common with Colleen Hoover. She's just very easy to read, and I know I've talked about this last time, but just a great beginning book if you're wanting to get into reading, and if you like romance, because they're all romance. The next book that I read, it was actually like a short story, which I thought was really cool. It was called The Evidence of the Affair by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really like her as an author, so I saw that she had this little short story out, and so I picked it up, and it was really cool to read because it was very different from anything that I've ever read. I gave it 4 stars. I don't have the physical book, so the picture's here. The story is told between letters of a few people to different couples, and then the letters are going back and forth. So it's pretty cool. It's obviously about an affair, but the way that it was written is very cool. It's a fast read. I think it's like 90 something pages. So if you want to get a quick read in, I think I read it, I don't even know, in like maybe an hour. I don't know if it tells me how long I read it, but I remember getting through it quick. Obviously it's super short, but I liked it a lot. I liked how it ended, and short and sweet. So if you're interested in something like that, then this is a great read for you. The next book that I read is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I gave this one 4 stars. It was another one of your romance, enemies to lover type of books. Very predictable, obviously. And yeah, I mean, I liked it. It's a little bit of a romancy, cute little read, but nothing special. I'll just say that. Nothing much else to say here. I did enjoy the read. Up to you if you want to pick it up. I would say that you're not really missing anything if you don't pick it up. So after that, I read the second book of the ACOTAR series, which is A Court of Mist and Fury, which I just showed a couple books back. So I already talked about that, but I really like the second book a lot. I think that's my favorite. Obviously, so far of the series, I've only read 2, but that one is my favorite of the series so far. The next book was The Perfect Son Also putting a picture here because I read this on my Kindle. I really enjoyed this book. It's another thriller. I need to read it because I don't want to give it away, but I really enjoyed this story. It was very twisty and turny, and I genuinely did not see how this book was gonna end. Personally, I am terrible at guessing the endings of books, so it might be super obvious to you if you read it, but I was caught like completely off guard. Also, this author is Frida McFadden, and I really like her books. There's some other books that I read by her as well, and they are super fast reads, and they are like gripping. They keep you reading. So if you're looking for something fast, thriller, and just like twisty turny types of books, Frida McFadden for you for sure. Okay, so here's the little description. Mrs. Cass, we are hoping your son could answer a few questions about a girl who disappeared last night. ... Erica Cass has a perfect family and a perfect life until the evening when 2 detectives show up at her front door. A high school girl has vanished from Erica's quiet suburban neighborhood. The police suspect the worst, murder. And Erica's teenage son, Liam, was the last person to see the girl alive. Erica has always sensed something dark and disturbed in her seemingly perfect older child. She wants to believe he's innocent, but as the evidence mounts, she can't deny the truth. Liam may have done the unthinkable. Now she must ask herself, how far will she go to protect her son? I really liked this freaking book. I gave it 5 stars, obviously. But yeah, if you're looking for a thriller, really good place to start. The next book that I read is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, another author that I really enjoy reading. I gave this 5 stars. I really like this one as well. It was very cute. It is a romance, but I really liked the premise of this book, and I genuinely didn't know which way she was going to choose because it's such a difficult decision for her to make. So I'll read really quickly what the book is about, but I just remember like feeling torn for her as the main character in the book. So let me read it real quick so you can understand what's going on here. In her 20s, Emma Blair marries her high school sweetheart, Jesse. They build a life from themselves, far away from the expectations of their parents and the people of their hometown in Massachusetts. They travel the world together. Emma is a freelance writer. Jesse, as a production assistant on nature documentaries, living life to the fullest and seizing every opportunity for adventure. On their first wedding anniversary, Jesse is on an assignment in the Aleutian Islands when his helicopter goes missing over the Pacific. Just like that, Jesse is gone forever. Emma quits her job and moves home in an effort to put her life back together. Years later, now in her 30s, Emma runs into an old friend, Sam, and finds herself falling in love again. When Emma and Sam get engaged, it feels like Emma's second chance at happiness. That is, until Jesse is found. He's alive, and he's been trying to come home to her all these years. Emma now has a husband and a fiance, but who's her one true love? And what does it even mean to love truly? Emma knows she has to listen to her heart. She's just not sure what it's saying. So, as you can see, if you were put in that position, it'd be like crazy difficult to like figure out what you're gonna do with your life. Like, do you stay with your husband that like disappeared years ago? You finally accepted his death, and then you're falling in love with someone else, and then he comes back. Like, it's just crazy to think about. So this is a really good book. It goes into like her thought process, obviously, of like trying to figure out what she wants to do, and it's very heartbreaking. Like, for both, either way she goes, it's like a heartbreak no matter what. So I just really like this book. I thought it was a really great read, a really great story. I'm sure there's other stories out there like this, but I really like this one a lot. Oh, and I told Quinn about the story and like what happens in the end. So we found out that this book is actually made into a movie. Movie is horrendous, terrible. Don't watch the movie first. If you're interested in the story, read the book, because the movie is horrific. I think it's like a Hallmark movie, so just keep that in mind if you're gonna watch that movie. Read the book first, because the story is much better in the book, as everybody says in every single thing that's been made into a movie. Okay, all the other books that I read for the year, I do not have physical copies of, so I will be putting the pictures over here. The next one is Ward D, again by Frida McFadden, the thriller author that I really like. I really enjoyed this story as well. 5 stars, very twisty turny, very quick read. And I was shook. Like, genuinely, I was like a jaw on the floor. Can't believe this is how the story is turning out. Like, just wow, crazy story. So I will read the little snippet. Medical student Amy Brenner is spending the night on a locked psychiatric ward. Amy has been dreading her evening working on Ward D, the hospital inpatient mental health unit. There are very specific reasons why she never wanted to do this required overnight rotation. Reasons nobody can ever find out. And as the hours tick by, Amy grows increasingly convinced that something terrible is happening within these tightly secured walls. When patients and staff start to vanish without a trace, oh my god, like I can't say the sentence, it becomes clear that everyone in the unit is in grave danger. Amy's worst nightmare was spending the night on Ward D, and now she might never escape. Ooh, spooky. I really like this one. Again, another thriller. The next books that I read are part of a series. I read the Summer I Turned Pretty series. So book 1 is The Summer I Turned Pretty. The second book is It's Not Summer Without You. And then the third book is We'll Always Have Summer. I wanted to read the books first before I watched the series. I finished all the books. I did not finish the series. I feel like the series was different from the books. Another like love story type of young adult romance type of vibe. I wouldn't say that you like have to read these books because it's just like a little lovey-dovey, like, I don't know, nothing crazy, I would say. But I did enjoy reading them. The first book I gave 3 stars, the second book I gave 4 stars, and the last book I gave 5 stars. So it got better as I read, but nothing to like run to, I don't think. And then the series, like I said, was just like, I don't know, like it was different from the books, and I thought the acting was a little cringy. Similar to like One True Loves, where the acting is just kind of like, I don't know, like not that great. That's my thoughts on those. And then the most recent book that I read was called The Inmate, also by Frida McFadden. Okay, so this one's very similar to Ward D. It's another like prison type of thing where the nurse practitioner comes in, and again, very twisty turny. I liked this one as well. Very like crazy ending to the story. It kind of made me mad, the end of this story, now that I'm remembering it. I was like, what the heck? But then it kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like sad at the end. I'll read you the little synopsis. If you want to read a thriller, this is another good one. Again, Frida McFadden, she's just a really good thriller writer. There are 3 rules Brooke Sullivan must follow as a new nurse practitioner at a men's maximum security prison. 1, treat all the prisoners with respect. 2, never reveal any personal information. And 3, never ever become too friendly with the inmates. But none of the staff at the prison knows Brooke has already broken the rules. Nobody knows about her intimate connection to Shane Nelson, one of the penitentiary's most notorious and dangerous inmates. And they certainly don't know that Shane was Brooke's high school sweetheart, the star quarterback who is now spending the rest of his life in prison for a series of grisly murders. Or that Brooke's testimony was what put him there. But Shane knows, and he will never forget. I really liked this one a lot. I just like shook by the end of the story. I really like how the ends of her books kind of leave you like guessing, or like, oh shit, like, you know, it's like a mic drop type of situation, you know what I'm saying? So I really like her books. I am also currently reading one of her books called The Housemaid, which I am super close to being done with. So far it's good, and it's very confusing, and I'm just like, I'm kind of lost, but I know it'll get wrapped up and like I'll understand what's going on. But it's really good so far. I don't have an official review yet, but I'm sure next year when I do this video again, I will talk to you about the story. That's everything that I read this year, and I am excited to see what books I get into next year. My goals for next year are hopefully finishing the Avatar series, reading a lot more thrillers. I want to read more memoirs. I really like memoirs for people that I know, just to continue reading because I really have found a love for reading. That's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.